Hey everyone, it is me, the Galactic Princess, and I'm here with another video, and today I'm going to be reacting to some Mr. Nightmare, and the video that I'm going to be reacting to is the 8 creepy unexplainable phone calls. I had to try to remember that. I was like low-key kind of forgot. But yes, I'm very excited about doing my very first reaction to Mr. Nightmare. I'm not new to his channel. Like, I've seen other reaction channels like Gator Martin, Blasphemous HD, like react to Mr. Nightmare's channel. So like, I've been knowing Mr. Nightmare since pretty much like 2014, 2015, and I just love his channel, and I think it's honestly like his channel is like really great, and just I like the horrorness of it, so it's pretty chill, you know. So I'm very excited about doing this video and everything. So yeah, so anyway, I just wanted to say that fingers crossed, I will probably get out a gameplay maybe over Thanksgiving break, which is Thanksgiving break is next week. So I'll probably see if I can get a gameplay to up on my channel. I finally got a video card capture for my PlayStation 4, which I'm just so happy about, and hopefully it works. Hopefully the sound will work, and yeah, so fingers crossed. So we're gonna go ahead and get into this video. So if you're new to my channel, hey, welcome to my channel, and if you're coming back to my channel, welcome back to my channel, and let's get into this reaction, shall we? Okay, let's go ahead and put these on. Let me make sure my hair is straight. Let me make sure. Okay. Okay, we Gucci. We Gucci. Okay. I think we're good.
We are sorry. The number you have dialed has been...
In 2015, student Michael Andrews of the University of Southern California had left his dorm room with his roommate Steve to go to a frat party off campus. On the way to the party, Steve had realized he left his phone in the dorm room, but already in the Uber to the party, they didn't bother going back to the dorm. At some point during the party, while the two friends had separated to mingle with other friends and acquaintances, Michael's phone began to ring. It was from Steve's number. He picked up and heard Steve's voice on the other end, covered by a mask of static. Even in the loud party, he could distinguish the voice of his roommate saying, "Come back to the room." Then the call ended. With that, Michael left the party and Ubered back to the campus dorms, trying to call Steve back and text him, but he wasn't getting any responses.
Oh snap, oh goodness, what's gonna go down?
When Michael got back to the dorm room, he didn't find Steve inside. Strangely though, he did find Steve's phone sitting on his bed. Upon checking the notifications on the screen, Michael saw the notifications of all his texts and calls on the screen. It wasn't until an hour later that Steve returned to the room looking for Michael after hearing that he left. And this was when he told Michael that he never called him and that he never had his phone. What made this even stranger is that Steve's phone had no record of making a call to Michael, yet Michael's phone had a record of receiving a call and having a 15-second conversation. The phone company wasn't able to trace a call from Steve inside.
Oh my gosh, is it actually gonna show is he actually gonna put the phone call in here? I don't know.
And nobody was found hiding in their dorm room or anything like that.
Oh, okay, he's not gonna
In 1970, 25-year-old Donna Lass worked as a nurse at the first aid station of a casino in South Lake Tahoe, California. One day, Donna's boss and landlord both received calls from an unidentified man who claimed she was dealing with an illness in the family and would be out of town for a while. Donna's boss became suspicious, so he contacted her mother, who confirmed that story was a lie. Donna's car was found parked outside her apartment, but there was no trace of her anywhere. The last sign of her was an entry she'd made in her logbook near the end of her final shift. The entry looked unfinished, as if someone had possibly interrupted her. No one could figure out Donna's whereabouts or the identity of the caller until the San Francisco Chronicle received a mysterious postcard 6 months later. The postcard was the latest in a long line of cryptic messages from the Zodiac Killer.
Oh.
The killer made no direct reference to Donna, but hinted that he had murdered and buried his 12th victim in Lake Tahoe.
Wait. Did they ever, I heard something about them finding, who he could have possibly been. So this is a Zodiac Killer right here. like I heard that there's like leads to it, or like they found like his like who it could possibly be. I am not sure, but I may have to go look that up to see. So is that him?
It didn't take a detective to make the connection between this note and Donna's disappearance.
It says, "Dear editor, you hate me, but I've got to tell you the pace isn't any slower. In fact, it's just one big 13th. Some of them thought it was horrible. Zodiac, oh my goodness. Here are reports. City police, pig cops, closing in on me." Oh, jeez, I cannot. Okay, I think that's in fuck, but I don't know. I'm crack proof. What is the price tag now?
The postcard
Then
provided
did
a
it.
lot of possible clues regarding Donna's whereabouts, but a search of the area turned up nothing. Something complicates a connection between the Zodiac Killer and Donna, though, and that's the fact that the Zodiac Killer was not known for hiding bodies. So if he wasn't responsible, the whereabouts of Donna's body and who tried to hide her disappearance remain a mystery.
Jeez.
In 2008, 19-year-old college student Brendan Swanson was driving home after a night out when he crashed into a ditch on a gravel road in the middle of nowhere in Minnesota.
Oh,
Knowing how dangerous of a predicament he found himself in, and probably aware he was in a cliche horror movie setup, he
yeah.
called his parents and asked for a ride. However, his parents had trouble finding him, and when arriving to the location he provided, they couldn't find his car, so they got back on the phone for over 45 minutes trying to find him
That's horrible. That is that sounds terrifying.
as he described his location.
Oh goodness.
Swanson claimed he could see lights from a nearby town and was heading in that direction, but things took a turn for the worse when he suddenly yelled, "Oh shit."
Oh.
Before his father could even scold his son for using that language on the phone with him, the call cut off, and that's the last anyone ever heard from Brendan.
Ah.
Even with hundreds of volunteers and 30 dogs searching, only his car was found. So what happened to him?
Yeah.
What did he see that made him go, "Oh shit," before abruptly hanging up?
Dang.
A few years back, a Reddit user named Stacy Kolupski shared the experience of her brother who would get a call on his cell phone around 2 to 3 a.m. every night. He would answer it every time to hear this hellish sounding noise that he described as a static mixed with screams. He changed his cell phone number after a month of this and it stopped. Then after a week or so, it began again, with the exact same noise at the exact same time. Finally, one day he decided to backdial the call, and an old man picked up who had no idea what he was talking about. If he didn't answer, it would call a few more times, but no messages were ever left. He decided.
Do you guys believe in spirits and like ghosts and like demons and all that stuff? Honestly, I do. I believe in that stuff. I think that's real. Like all that stuff is real. Like maybe because my religion, but like, you know, like I just sometimes I be feeling presences and I just try my best to just ignore them, not give in to them, and just let them. Because especially I doll collect, so my mom and I believe that dolls come with like spirits and stuff. So like the dolls I get from like thrift stores and stuff, I think definitely that stuff. So I think maybe he was getting a call from someone from hell, maybe, or a demon, you know, like yes, demon. But yeah, let's see.
To say screw it and ended his contract with his phone company, switched to a new one, and then got another new number.
Oh my gosh.
And exactly what he feared had happened. The screaming static calls continued after a short delay. By this time he was terrified every night. Unsure why this was happening, he backdialed the number again and got a different person, who also had no idea what he was talking about.
What the freak?
Around this time, Stacy's brother lost his job and his phone, which was now disconnected, meaning the calls of course stopped. One day, Stacy's mom asked her to listen to a weird message she got on her home phone. It was the static screaming. They showed her brother, and he of course freaked out. He backdialed the number again, and it said the number was disconnected this time.
I feel like since he answered the phone the first time, he opened some type of portal. Now I can call him anytime at that time and taunt him and stuff. And that's horrible. Oh,
They never heard from it again after that.
Oh.
In the 1970s,
Wait, what?
Bashir Kaushaki opened a successful
Wait, what did you say?
was disconnected this time. They never heard from it again after that.
Oh, okay.
In the
I thought that he said they never heard from the brother again, and I was like, what the freak happened? Like, did it, like, make him run away? Like, I don't know.
1970s, Bashir Kaushaki opened a successful restaurant in Washington, D.C., and for over a decade enjoyed nothing but success. But in 1983, he became the target of a non-stop stream of threatening phone calls that came several times a day, every day. Usually harassment similar to this will eventually stop on its own as the harassers get bored and move on to something else. But Kaushaki was harassed by these phone calls for nearly a decade. The caller would eventually be nicknamed L'Enfant, which is French for the child. The nickname was presumed to reference the caller's eventual imitation of a little girl. Anyone associated with Kaushaki in any way was a target, from his pregnant spouse to his restaurant employees. The harassment was one day elevated from simply phone calls to physical harassment when the Star of David was scratched all over Kaushaki's Mercedes. When he traveled to Philadelphia to visit his sister, things got so bad that he suffered a mental breakdown and committed himself to a psychiatric ward. But even still, the calls continued to his restaurant. The FBI eventually placed a trace on the phone to confirm whether L'Enfant was a delusion or not, and what they found out put how bad this was into perspective. The calls were coming from different payphones at such a high frequency that it would have been impossible for only one person to have been making these calls.
Wow.
The L'Enfant callers was a plot orchestrated by multiple people for the express purpose of harassing Kaushaki to insanity, but it was never figured out what the motive was. All the way back in 1931, there was a man named William Wallace who worked as a London insurance agent and had an obsession for playing chess in his free time. One night, Wallace showed up for a chess club meeting and found a telephone message waiting for him. The sender wanted to meet at 7:30 the following night so he could purchase an insurance policy. The next night, Wallace traveled across town and discovered that the address provided didn't exist. So he headed back home, most likely convinced that he was the victim of some dumb prank. But when he got home, he found his wife Julia's body had been beaten to death in the living room.
Oh!
The mysterious caller was the obvious suspect. But after an investigation, police determined that the caller was actually William Wallace himself. Authorities argued that Wallace had left the message to fabricate an alibi. He killed his wife, hopped in a streetcar, drove around for an hour, then went home to supposedly discover his wife's body. This argument was invalid as it was completely impossible for Wallace to have committed the murder, given he wouldn't have been able to return quick enough. The jury found Wallace guilty of the murder anyway, but luckily the Court of Criminal Appeal immediately overturned the conviction. The killer was never identified, but the prime suspect was a former employee of Wallace's insurance firm, who allegedly asked his wife to provide him a fake alibi and was seen wearing bloody gloves and hosing down his car on the night of the murder. Jason Alexander would frequently get calls to his house for a woman named Tanya. It didn't seem like a big deal since Tanya had the same last name as Jason's family, and it was a common name from where they were from. When Jason and his family moved across the city, and phone books gradually stopped being the go-to way of finding somebody's number, the calls for Tanya gradually stopped, and after a while, the Alexander family forgot about the Tanya woman. It was about 4 years later that she popped up in their lives again. Jason was driving home from work one afternoon, and was greeted by a pretty grisly car wreck at the turn to his house. 2 cars had collided, and one had wrapped itself around the signage pole that had the house numbers and directions on it, one of which was his house number. Several days later, he got a call from the police. They asked if Tanya was at his residence. Her car was found wrapped around a pole down the street from Jason's house, and she was nowhere to be found at the accident site. He had never heard anything about her ever again.
What the world?
In 1965, the young woman you're looking at named
This one's gonna probably be really creepy. Let's be prepared.
Judith Hyams disappeared from her hometown of Coral Gables, Florida. Everyone feared the worst when her abandoned car was found in Atlanta with blood in the backseat. Judith was pregnant and recently went through a divorce. She allegedly made arrangements to get an illegal abortion from a Hungarian doctor named George Hajdu. He was charged with conspiring to perform the abortion but skipped bail and fled the country. After this, the case was forgotten for a quarter century, until it was rejuvenated by a series of bizarre phone calls. In 1990, the Coral Gables police captain Chuck Smith received a message from an Omaha, Nebraska radio host claiming he had information about Judith's disappearance. Smith called the host back, but the host was completely confused. The host said he never made the call, and he knew nothing at all about Judith. Smith soon received another anonymous call claiming Judith was alive in Omaha. Smith knew nothing about the case, but he had recently traveled to Omaha to deliver a lecture at a police academy, and he started to wonder if this was a prank. Smith got a third anonymous call from someone who claimed to be an FBI informant who had recently spent time with Dr. Hedu in Hungary. They even provided an old phone number for Hedu that checked out. Smith was confused, and with such a baffling case, he took the story to the TV show Unsolved Mysteries. Days after the Judith Hyams episode was broadcast, Smith got an anonymous letter confirming what many people suspected all along. Judith died during an illegal abortion and wound up in a watery grave. While that's the logical solution, it doesn't account for all the strange calls. The callers and writer have not been identified, the doctor has not been found, and Judith's body was never recovered.
Okay, that gave me chills. Whoa, okay, wow. Jeez. His storytelling is pretty great. Like, I love the sound effects, and it's just, wow. That freaking freaked me out. I'm not gonna lie. Okay. That freaked me the freak out. Yeah, you gotta fix my hair. We gotta fix the curls. You know. But yes, the ending just gave me chills. Like, it just, like, that her body was never found. And that's just, it's crazy. That's like chilling. Okay, like all those stories gave me chills. Okay, so I think I'm gonna be reacting more to Mr. Nightmare on my channel. I absolutely love his storytelling, and as you can see, like he's really great at storytelling. And then also Mr. Ballin is also a good storyteller. So if you guys ever want to watch like horror, true crime, I got you on that. Bailey Sarian, we got Kendall Ray, where she lives in the same state as me, so I love Kendall Ray. She's awesome. I haven't watched her in a minute, but yeah, and same with Bailey Sarian, or like, you know, like I just haven't watched them in a minute because true crime kind of freaks me out a lot, like because also like the stories that in this video freaked me out, like oh my goodness, like especially the ending one gave me just chills. But yeah, so make sure to leave down below what videos you would like me to react to. Like it could be anything, like, but as long as like I probably won't get copyrighted or something. Hopefully Mr. Nightmare's okay with this, me reacting to his video. And also, yeah, so I have to be make sure that copyright and stuff is, you know, because there's certain things that a lot of creators don't want you to react to. A lot of like creators don't like people reacting to their stuff, so that's why I'm kind of like you know, like do I just keep doing like, you know, like just what I see other reactors do, like in a way, like, you know, like so I don't get in trouble myself, okay? But anyway, we're gonna end the video here, and I hope you all enjoyed this video. So yeah, it was very scary. It was very like, you know, just psychological. It's just like weird, but yeah. And I will see you later. So yeah,